After the night, everybody was so weary. Nobody slept a wink, except for the invalid. Mr. Smith and the doctor talked all night, till the doctor couldn't open his eyes. But he still didn't sleep a lot, because the doctor thought this was a serious of matters. And he thought a lot of this little girl, too. The doctor had made a special pet of her. Once Mrs. Smith got very sick, and then Olivia just came and was 9 years old. She didn't know anything about anybody, so she just had to go alone to the doctors. But the other doctors always laughed at her and called her Little Gray Hood. And not Gray Hood because she was still little that time. But this doctor saw something what the other doctors did not see. The spirit she had. When one doctor said, "Little Gray Hood, is your old Smith cranky again? I hope not, because you're going to get a whipping, I guess. The old Smiths always get whippings." And they chuckled and laughed as if they were bad. But no, he did not. He saw the spirit that was rising in her eyes, and the glow she had. And he rather liked her for all this pride that she had. Once, there was a crooked old man who was outside the store. She came to get the pills for Mrs. Smith, and she saw the old man, so she used her own money, which she was going to buy a new hat, which she longed for, and she wanted to buy the new hat because her old hat was crooked already. And she got some money for it, and she could spend it like she wanted, but everybody thought she would spend it on the new hat because it was a new fashion, and the fashion might last long, so she could wear it for a long time and be fashionable for a part of times. But she used it to buy bread. She bought the cheapest bread that could be bought in the bakery, but she bought a lot of the pieces and bought a piece of butter and a few apples from the grocery. She gave one apple to the old man and two in her pockets, and the other one she gave to a little girl who was one of the invalids that had no mother or father, but wasn't sent to anybody. The little girl thanked her afterwards a lot. She was just a 5-year-old or 6-year-old girl, and now to think of it, she was already a mere child now, and she always smiled at the beautiful Olivia when she came back. And she gave the bread to the girl and the man, and left a piece in her pocket. And then she went happily singing away. The old man was very obliged to get some food. And he and the little girl afterwards always liked this Olivia brand of girl. And he was one of the people who were like those women who always talked gratefully of her. And he always said, "That girl ain't a bit like the others. I like her style." And I wish every new fashion girl would be like her. But no, they aren't. And she's the only one. And I'm proud of her because she's what I call my girl. And everybody was proud of her that had a special acquaintance with her because she was the spirit of many invalids and unhappy people. And from that scene, the doctor liked this little girl. And now that she was almost in the ways of dying, could this be possible? The next morning, Mrs. Scott, the old woman, and and the people who were worshipped by the girl all came to see her. Mrs. Scott cried bitter tears. My girl, why did I left her to the cares of the Moors? What could have happened? Oh, dear me. How will I get on without her? Oh, if she can't live through this, how can I live through this? And she kneeled beside her like Catherine did, but she stood up once and and yelled to the doctor and said, "Why didn't you make her wake up? Why didn't you? What is your problem, eh? I want to know. I want her to get as fast. Get any medicine. If it costs so much, I'll pay for it. You know I'm not very rich, but I am a bit. And if it costs me the whole fortune I have, it would be grateful to get this Olivia alive again. Go and get the medicine if there is any. And if there isn't, go find it." This series of matters made everybody shiver, because they thought she was just yelling for nothing, because Olivia might never wake up again. Edward never came out of his room, and Chris was white. Catherine was pale. Dorothy was the only one who kept in spirits. But once she saw, when she was passing by and humming a little song that was so low because she didn't want anybody to hear, that she was actually pretty happy of the sight of this invalid person that everybody was worshiping. She saw the pale face that she had never saw in that type. She remembered when she was in the carriage and said, "Well, I thought Kristen wasn't interested in me, and you better take Edward," she said. Those words, they were so playful. They weren't mean now. If she would just say that again, I wish she were alive, she pleaded to God. But just as her wish, she got fulfilled, because Dorothy always fulfills her dreams, even if sometimes they're almost impossible. God has a special liking for Dorothy, and a special liking for Olivia, and made Dorothy's wish come true. Dorothy saw with her own eyes how the eyes of Olivia opened slowly and widely. "Dorothy, dear, come to me," she said in a whispered tone. Dorothy just jumped almost to her. "What can I help you? Oh, dear, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry lately. I've been so cross and so mean. I didn't mean it. I just couldn't help it. I was so bad. I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry. Would you forgive me?" she said in a childish tone, and crying tears. The tears dropped on the cushion and made it very wet. "I can forgive you. It's not your fault. I know I'm not the kind of people I was like. But I'm really thankful that you know that what you have done lately. It's okay, I'll forgive you if I ever can start my life again. I will forgive you, but I don't think there's any life in me. I'm just a piece of work that is broken now. It's too broken to stand up. And I wish I could spend those last days or last minutes in my life just talking about my life with someone that I trust. And this someone is you, because you have a pride like mine. It's always overwhelming, but the pride that is like mine I can trust most." And she talked about her life, her daily life, her adventures, with the cricket man, the old woman, the doctor. And Dorothy suddenly knew how nice she had been to everybody, and how she won the love of everybody. Now she knew the secret of love, and she hoped she could find the key to it. And the key lay in this girl that she hated once, but loved now. But she thought it was too late to forget and forgive and do everything over. She was crying bitter tears when the doctor came in and saw her awake, talking to her. "Oh, Dorothy Moore, go out. You'll stress her a lot. If you stress her, you'll get in big trouble because she needs sleep. If she opens her eyes, she needs to get pills because that's the only time when she has her senses on. So now go out, please, or you might get disease too." "What disease? What does she have?" Dorothy answered with puppy eyes. "She has a disease of bad fever. What fever, I can't tell yet, but go out before you get it too. And go into your room and get some pills. Alexander will see to them, I hope. And don't come out until I told you so, because you might get the disease and make everybody get it too. So go out." "No, don't go out," pleaded Olivia with very dim eyes, looking at the doctor. "Why, Olivia, you're nearby the end of your life, and you don't want to spend it like this. And I have to bring you up. That's my duty," he said, in a weary tone that told Olivia that nobody slept a wink. "I don't want people to worry about me. And I don't want you or anybody whom I love and want to worship my life afterwards. I know this is the end for me, and I want to forgive and forget what Olivia did, and what Dorothy did. She wants me to do it too. It will be the greatest pleasure for me for my last moments," she said. "Oh, as you wish." And he led Dorothy back in again. "Sorry that I was so cross to you," he mumbled. And then the old doctor went away into the kitchen and told Mr. Smith and Mrs. Smith that she was up. "My dear, she's up. Oh, can I please go see her? Or is there anything I can't do? Oh, I must go see her. Oh, dear me, what is wrong with me? I can't stand up. What has happened to me? Carry me there. Carry me there. Oh, dear. Oh, can you wheel the chair over there? I want to see my dear girl. She's in her last moments, and she wants to spend it with the ones she loves the most." The doctor said in a weary tone. "But I love her the most," said Aunt Smith. "Yes, you do, so you may go in. But be careful to be quiet, because when deadly people are almost dead, they want to have it in peace." "What are you saying?" said the old lady. "My Olivia is not going to die anyhow. And you stop talking nonsense, Mr. Doctor, and go and fetch me the pills that I wanted. Didn't I say that she would be all right if she had the pills? And I said that, and you should have listened to me, Doctor. I know I'm not a doctor, or any person who went to college and those fussy stuff, but I know as well as anybody, because I am wise. I have a big brain, and I'm going to use my brain to give Olivia her life back. So now go and fetch the pills," she said in such a tone that the doctor even startled and ran out to get the pills, even though he knew there was no pills to kill this kind of illness, because it was just deadness in her. There was no hope. No medicine could cure it. No. It was just hope and faith. But hope was almost gone. Everybody didn't believe in Hope right now. Hope was useless, everybody thought. They just had to see and faith. Faith could they only trust, and Hope was distrusted all the time. But except in one heart, Hope, in two hearts, Hope still ached. And in those it was Catherine and Edward's heart. It ached painfully for them, because they too were the people who hoped the most, and sometimes failed their hopeless, because seeing that she was lying so still, Edward never saw. He never dared to see. His fancy was already too much for him, and he couldn't see the real person. He made up his mind to go out when it was the time that Hope was all gone. And if she would wake up, he would go, and he wouldn't go away from that room, he thought. And Catherine, in the meanwhile, had the muchest pain, because who could have stopped her? She blamed herself always for this, even though Edward blamed himself more. She always reproached herself to say, "Why didn't I stop her from killing herself? It's all my fault. Whatever happened, I shouldn't have blamed Eddie. It wasn't his fault if she ran out. Why didn't I control her if she couldn't control herself? Why didn't I find her myself? Why didn't I pick her up? Why didn't I?" And she shook a fist at herself in the mirror. But before it hit her head, Chris stopped it and said in a low tone, Kath, don't be so angry. We don't want to wake her up, don't we?" "Wake her up? I thought she was up," she said. "No, she's fallen to deep sleep again." "Deep? So deep?" "No, we don't know. I can still feel her pulse, but still deep. And I hope it won't last." Oh, Mom. I hate this. I hate it. Why didn't I? Oh, dear me. Claimed Dorothy when Olivia went into a deep sleep again. "Nobody can forgive me but her. She's too well, too good to be a friend of mine. If I ever can be so great as her, I would fly to heaven of happiness. I will never be like her, but I'll try to be if she never comes. I'll comfort Eddie and Chris and Kathleen and Nora. Oh, dear Nora, she's having a lot of pains too. I forgot about her. Oh, dear." And then she went to comfort Nora, who was sitting in the kitchen and who was cooking as fast and had a pile of cakes and chickens and wings and all sorts of things. But she didn't find Nora in the state that she thought she would find, crying like a baby. "What are you doing, Nora?" "I'm doing the food my dear Olivia's going to get when she wakes up." "But I don't see. I don't think she's going to wake up." "You don't believe, but I do. At least I do. And I do believe it, and I want to believe it," she said in stern tones. "But that's just worrying yourself. The doctor said it won't be. It won't. And it's no use to try to make it be." I know that. I'm very clever to know that. But still, I know what I'm thinking, and I'm going to think it right over. Even if she dies, I'll have this food all piled in her funeral. I will. this is the least I can do for her right now. I can't go and comfort like you, or cry like a calf, and I can't worry like Ed, and I can't beg like Chris. So I'm going to cook like nobody ever saw. And then she went away in the kitchen and got some flour because all the flour was used by the cakes. You're going to use a lot of money on us, said a servant. Money? Do you care so about money? If we had the world's money all to myself, I would buy the pills that were reachable from us. I bought some, but they won't come. The postmen are so lazy these days. I wish the teachers of those postmen would whip them good in their little ears. I would if I wanted to be a teacher, she said. Don't go into your mood, moaned Dorothy. Because when Nora was in a mood, nobody could stop her. I'm not in my moods, said Nora, looking up in the big mirror that was in the hallway. I'm just distressed about some things, and you better not go right through me, because I know I'm crazy right now, but please don't stop me from being it, because it will help me a lot of being crazy than not. I'm not in my moods, don't worry about me. But then she found out that she was, and that she was in a horrible mood. And then she burst out crying. I knew it was not normal, that you shouldn't have cried. You should have cried yourself yesterday. Today must be a joyful day if it's all over again, said to Dorothy, patting her sister. I hate it. Why couldn't any boss servant, yes I call it, stop her from running out? I do blame the servants, and I do blame her for not caring about herself enough. Oh. Why did she go out like that without any coat on or anything? It was very bad of her. And I wish I'd never done it before. I hope she'll forgive us, said another tone. And they turned over and saw a person which they almost gasped at. It was Mrs. Smith, so pale and white, almost like a ghost, standing there. Why, Mrs. Smith, what's the matter? Can't you see in my eyes what's the matter? It's the end, moaned Dorothy. Why, don't say this. It is, but I can't admit it. My dear girl. Oh, I must go to her. Oh, no. This can't be happening. This can't be, said Catherine, coming in. Dear girls, it is happening. She's drifting away slowly. Slowly. Oh dear, no. This isn't happening, is it? Said Nora, with her black hair tumbling down where the bun was. Oh, this is happening. I hope it never should have happened. Oh, it's all my fault. Don't blame yourself, girl, said Miss Smith in a very, very low tone. I can't blame anyone now, except nobody is to blame in this affair. God meant it, and he might want to get his little girl back. But it came so suddenly, and it's going so suddenly too. I didn't give all the love I could to her. I admit that now, said Dorothy, looking very sober. We can't do everything good and perfect. Let's go and see the worst. We have to see it, and it's better as not to dread from seeing it. We'll have to see it somehow, in some way, and the best is to see it now and get over it. How can we get over it? I think heartless people could. Oh, what if I do get over it? I'm a heartless creature to think about me getting over it, said Dorothy in her heart. I don't think I ever will. I never hope I will, because it would be so hard of me to forget. Dear Olivia Crawford. When they went in, everybody was standing there. Even Edward came out, and everybody saw his change in him. He wasn't frightened. He wasn't pale. He was nothing. He was like a ghost. He had no color, but he wasn't white. He had no color in his cheeks, but he wasn't very pale, and he had no dimples. He had no dimples. He changed himself, the eldest, but they had no time to describe Edward or Chris or Catherine when they saw the girl who was lying there and opened her eyes softly, so softly, so slowly. She's opening her eyes, gasped Cass. She is, said another, and the servants came in to see the big moment. But before they could even guess, the invalid opened her eyes, and there was a light color in her eyes when she saw Catherine and Edward standing beside her, and Dorothy and Aunt Smith behind them, and all the people that she loved the most crowding around her. "You are so kind," she said in the lowest tone that an invalid could make, "to see me off in this way." "See you off, my dear? Don't ever talk about this. This isn't proper at a funeral," said the old lady, Mrs. Scott. "Be quiet, shush, you old lady," said the servant, looking at her scornfully. "Shush me up? You won't do that. I won't be shushed till the end has come, and the end won't come, so don't try to shush me." And she sang a loud song, and everybody sang together. "Why are you so good to me?" said the invalid. "Good to you? You deserve it, dear," said Catherine, putting her hand on hers, her white ones. "I don't deserve any bit of this worshipping you always are doing. I should have told you before that I wasn't perfect. that I wasn't one of those fairy tale people. But you are a fairy tale every day. You do things like fairies, said Dorothy, kneeling beside her. Oh, really? I'm glad to hear that people won't forget me as soon as I thought they would. Why would we ever forget you, dear Olivia? Said person in low tone. Because I wasn't perfect enough to stay in the frames of you all good people, she said. And she put her hand on the cushion where teardrops had fallen from everybody, except from someone that she always knew would never come. In my last moment, I want to know, is my father still alive? And if he is, why didn't he come to see me off? Was my father never dead? Asked Olivia in a so quiet tone that only a few could hear it, the question. Where did you get this nonsense from? Said a scowled uncle. Why aren't you so angry? Why did you keep it away from me? What was the use of keeping away from me? A lot of people know my father and mother, and they know that my mother died, my dear mother, but not my father. Why did you keep it a secret? What was the point? I would find out anyhow, she said. And she got so excited, she sat up and then fell on her pillow again because she was too weak. And this excitement had cost her a lot of energy that she shouldn't have used in this kind of manner. Listen, said Aunt. Nobody's to blame this. I don't even know that your father was ever alive. And she looked doubtfully at Uncle. Do you know the stewing? I knew it, and I was supposed to keep it a secret. You was supposed to keep a secret out of this? Yes, I should have, but I failed entirely, he muttered. Well, now everything is a mess, and there's no use in doing anything now. There is use. We can't. But now there is no use, said Olivia. Now I'm just a girl about to die, and I don't want to so fast. I wish this had never happened. Everybody wishes that. But not everybody can believe it. Well, I don't care. I don't care. I wish I didn't care. I could have promised to myself that I didn't expect to do it so fast. I'm very young, I think, for my age. I don't think it's all that I have done. It's not enough. Well, it isn't enough. I haven't done anything very great. to deserve the praises and the other things. Well, I am ready for everything that's going to come before me. I'm ready for everything now. If something happens, don't blame me. And she almost went into a deep sleep, they always called it. They were puzzled by the sight of her bright eyes opening wide. They looked back and saw something they could call, that was almost so astonishing that they could not believe it. Dear me, they all cried. It was a person, familiar maybe, but maybe not so familiar. Well, it was someone so amazing, too amazing. Well, it was someone that they had not least expected to come in this moment. It was Mr. Crawford. He had come from nowhere. Well, now they wouldn't be surprised if the mother came in a ghost suit, they all thought. He was very wet, with snow covering him, and a very, very red nose that looked like freezing eyes. And he was rather a handsome man, but had outgrown his handsomeness in the old days, what they all call. And he put his hat was thick with ice. It seemed like if he had a long walk in snow without any real good clothes on, like Olivia. I had to come, he said. My dear was dying and I couldn't see her for the last time. I know it's my fault. And he kneeled beside Olivia and hugged her heartily. Olivia couldn't believe it. She just talked some awesome words and now her father came? What if she said, I want my mother back? Well, she knew that wouldn't happen. But still, it was so nice to have someone who cared a lot for her hair and who she cared almost everything for and always wanted to see after a long vision. She always wanted to see mother and father before she knew that the father was still alive. She always thought, one day I'll see them in heaven when I'm an old maid. I hope I'll go to heaven. I know they are. They're such nice people. Well, I'll live a great long life, she always repeated to herself. I'm so great that I'll have a nice time, and I will go to heaven and see my father and mother. But I won't think matter over too much, and she always stopped the thought of it. But this time, it was no thought. It was a realistic hand on hers, and a realistic arm stretched to her. She clasped for them with her weak hands that were so pale that they looked like statues. Her whole figure was almost like a statue, white like marble, except for her hair. That still was the auburny color that she had before the excitement. She was dressed into a very nice suit that was just comfortable but not pretty. It had many pockets to put pills in, and a big hat that warmed her head from freezing, and a scarf that kept her warm, and the muff that was prepared for her, and the slippers that the late old lady brought. She never got any slippers. I never knew that. I thought she forgot them, but that's always what she said. Well, I can never believe that dear girl anymore. She just wants to save a lot of trouble for others, but she never knows what trouble she gets in. Oh, dear me. I guess I've outgrown my humor. I'm thinking it's serious now. And then she mumbled and had some big teardrops like the others too. But suddenly the doctor came in. He held a book. "You're too late," said the old lady. "Even if you had brought the pills, it wouldn't work. Life is over almost, and we just have to see what comes next." And she put her hands onto Olivia's forehead and kissed it gently. "Now I'm ready for the ceremony," said Olivia. "Kiss me goodbye, Father. I hope I'll lead a nice life in heaven with Mother, if I ever go there." Hearing those words, Father almost burst into tears. But before he could do anything, the doctor came closer and said, "It isn't all over yet. I've got a very nice recipe. It's the Japanese and Chinese recipe. I've got it from long waistcoats and finally found the book. It was written by some great doctor in China, and I think it will work on her if she just is a bit more high-spirited. And now she is, because she saw her father. And I guess this will all work out at last. Make her high-spirited now, and her heart will get warmer, and then the medicine might work on her. Oh dear, I hope this would work," he said, opening the Chinese book, and then scribbling some pages that were translated by a translator. And then he did some weird things, and then he said, "I'm done." "What do you mean done?" said Olivia. "I mean, you're well again." "I'm well? But I don't feel anything in my body except for that it's very hot, and I feel something burning in my little heart." "Yes, it's the fire." "Well, you better go and have a nice sleep. And after that, everything will be okay. You'll have risks of getting better, but this time, it'll be a hard risk. But still, we have a very nice book here, and your father's here, so everything will be fine." And the doctor patted her head like a father did, and then he went out to see to 3 trained nurses who were waiting outside. You all go in and keep an eye on her. If something's wrong, call me with the bell. I'll be in the house meanwhile. It was a very serious affair. It was all very well after the night had passed. And then finally, her cheeks weren't statuish color. They had a little light in it, and she saw someone walk to her. The first person to come was, of course, her father. With fatherly love, he hugged her. I'll never go away, darling. It's my fault. I shouldn't have left you. Whatever care I was scared of, I shouldn't have. It's my fault, dear. I'm so sorry. But now we have this great book. And I'm here, your papa's here, your real one this time. And it's no joke to be joked at. I'm so happy. I'd never felt so happy in my life. Can you talk about Mother? And can you talk how you came here? I would if it helped you, but your mother was too great to talk about. I was the person who led her in the dark. They always said she married a worthless man, and it might be called true, because I'm not really worth anything at all, but she was worth thousands, and you were worth millions. That's what we always said to you when you were a little baby. Before you was one, the night before, your mother got so excited she couldn't sleep, she told me. And she always had a little thing in her mind. Her heart always beats very fast if she's excited, and she always got a heart problem. That night, her heart problem began again, but she did not tell me as usual, because she thought I would think it just a joke, because once I did. And then, in the night, when I was going to check on her, because I heard you crying, because you, mother and daughter, shared a room and kicked me sort of out, he laughed, because I snored sometimes, and mother thought it would be bad for you to hear snoring every night. So they moved to the other room, and I went looking and saw your mother lying on the bed, so white, so pale, and she looked as if she was struggling from something. I said, "What's wrong?" And she answered, "The end has come." Then she struggled again, and then I felt her pulse was so slow that I couldn't feel any pulse, and the hand I was holding turned pale and cold. I heard you cry immediately after she stopped talking, and I didn't know what to do with you or your mother. I was no doctor. I wasn't trained either. I couldn't do anything but sit there and to cry bitter tears and hear you cry too. It was the worst heartbreak I ever had, and I wish I never had it again. And if you died, I would have that same heartbreak, but even harder, because this time it was I who killed you entirely. And then he hugged her again and again, till tears fell, and they could not speak, but look at each other and try to comfort each other with father and daughterly love that they both possessed. It's so nice to have a father. I never had the feeling. Where were you, Father? After a long pause, she asked. Well, after your mother's funeral, I couldn't take care of you. I was just too scared and stupid-hearted. I thought I'd do something wrong with you, and I think I would have done, but I still shouldn't have given you up. And your aunt is actually your real aunt. And, well, before her death, she muttered, "I'm so sorry. Let Smith take her." And with those words, her eyelids dropped. Oh, and I thought your Aunt Smith was to be the one. But I don't think your mother meant to leave you alone with Smith, your Aunt Smith. She's a really great dear, but I should have taken you too. I think she meant that I was going to let Smith take care of the study and come to our home often to see you. But I didn't understand that. I only thought of giving you away and going out west to do some business. I didn't know where I was going or what I was going to do with all this thing on my mind. And it was very bad to think of a little white thing in strangers' hands, even though I knew your Aunt Smith very well. I couldn't believe when I got the message from the doctor. From what doctor? Oh, well, it's no use hiding from it. I know you knew my living from Edward. Yes, I do, but don't blame him. He didn't mean it. I'm just going to say that he wrote me the letter before yesterday, and he said I should come to see you. He always had my address. Your uncle and he had the address of mine. Really? So they kept the secret so big? No, girl. It was I who told them to keep it. And I'm glad they took care of the secret. Or there would be more mess than this. And then he said his faults, and a lot more which you shouldn't know. Well, that's all. And then I came running. Well, I took the train that was the earliest on the morning. And then I ran to the other train station and found out that the train hadn't stopped and was flying away. I quickly put on my boots that were very, very cozy in the snow and took my bag and ran as fast as a deer. I tell you, your mother always said I was dear husband. But with the deer, she meant the wild deers in the forests. And I tell you, she didn't say it wrong, because I got just the person driving the train to see me. That is fast, isn't it? I'm so astonished how I could. But it was all for you, dear. And the person who drove the train saw my ticket that I was waving in the air and knew I was just too late. So he stopped the train, said I shouldn't have come that late, but still I went in and took a second seat on the front row and waited until I came here. It was dusk yesterday, and then it was too dark to get any carriage or something. And carriages weren't the fashion right now if your dear daughter's dying. So I ran from the station to here. And when I got here, I heard your words. And I couldn't bear to come in. So you ran from the station to here? Daddy, you're as strong as a deer, I say. But you'll get your feet cold, like old Scott says. Oh, she's a dear. She takes matters in her hands like an old angel. Ah, yeah. I had a long talk with the people who worshipped you. And I now knew the matters and the states you were in. A lonely girl, not social. But the Moors had made you social. And after this, you'll be someone you never have been and that you always wanted to be. Isn't that great? It is great, but you're thinking too far. I have to live through this first. You are going to. And you're almost done with living through it. We have the good old book, and the good old doctor, and the good old people that love you the most. And with those words, he bade her good night, even though it was just time for supper. But invalids always sleep very, very, very early. So the next day, she was strong and ready for everything. And she could stand and she now could stand on her feet and walk a few steps ready. Even though if she was still an invalid, then the second day she could even go to the garden with Chris and Edward and Catherine holding on her, and the next they could put her in a chair and put some sticks, and it was like a carriage that was taken by two servants each side, and one was steadied by Chris and one by Edward, and the front was steadied by her father, and they took little trips, and they had the gayest time. Even though the men were strong, they had to have 5 people to do the whole work, and it was good fun because nobody felt it hard to carry a light chair with a very light princess on it, and they all shared the work, so it was better than ever. They all had a jolly time walking out. They talked and laughed and made jokes. Alexander said, "I ain't a bit afraid to look at her now. Yesterday, when she was almost, the day before of yesterday, when she was almost in the head of dying, I couldn't bear to see her. But now, I look at her. I could gaze at her. Of course I could. She is such a beauty. I almost think my eyes aren't fit for her. But I know she's a dear, and won't mind my old eyes staring at her." And Alexander was like a very nice dog to her. Always went around where she was, even though it was high time for bedtime. Sometimes he went to her room and talked to her like an old saint. Alexander was one of the homely friends she'd had, but she still couldn't go back home because even though she was light and the people carrying her were strong, it was still a hard work to carry someone over hills and hills. And she couldn't drive a carriage because the road was too bumpy. And if she got bumped, she would cough and sneeze and everything would go down under again. So she lived for weeks at the moors. But nobody rather thought it inconvenient because they liked having a lively Olivia around, when they could have been the loneliest people. They worshipped her like fellow soldiers worship a great king who has done good to all. And they never betrayed her, like people who trust another. They were the best of chums, everybody said. The Moors and now the Smiths they call, because calling one of them, only two of them, the Crawfords, it wasn't really worth, because they were all also a part of the family of the Smiths, so they are always called the Smiths and the Moors, and it's always called SM. And they were the little group that hang around all days till the end of the month, and she could finally walk, and walk very briskly too. She was now wandering in the house, but the doctor said she better not go out walking because the outside was very, very cold, and it was December, and everything was chilly and not so warm as they guessed. And a brisk walker could fall on the ice and get her bones chilly again. So she wasn't to go outside, except for if she could go into a carriage. Then, the next day, they prepared her going. And her father couldn't stay because he had some business and had to go again. But I'll come and visit you because I know now that my little girl is proud of me coming to look, little peep at you. I'll come often, once or twice in a month, and then you'll have a jolly time with me. But for now, I have to go and make my money and keep your uncle and aunt steady. So it was you who kept us steady? Yes, of course. Where did all the money come from if your uncle couldn't do anything while he was in jail and permitted for bad crime, which he had never done and would never have done? Oh dear, Daddy, you have so many secrets I can't hold them in at once. Yes, I should be more persistent with you, my dear. And do never keep a secret from me, she said, and twinkled with his eyes. Oh dear, everything is going back in the old versions. And then she looked at Chris and Edward, who were smiling to each other, but the smile was a faint smile of brother and hatred. End of chapter 5, part 2.